After 60 million years of nightmare slumber, the vast tombs of the Necron dynasties have awakened to conquer the galaxy once more. The Necrons, literal walking machines from an ancient, forgotten time, with weaponry that can dismantle atoms in mere minutes, are a dread for many worlds. With their mighty tombs and crypts buried on uncounted worlds, it is impossible to know where or when the Necrons will emerge and invade. But once these tombs awaken, the mechanical horrors that they store shall march forth to put down the fleshy things that have taken their territory. But what were these things before they slept? What has led these mechanical things to hide themselves away, and who were their creators? Well, long ago, before mankind had fully evolved from primates, there had existed a race of Xenos upon a distant world. These Xenos, named the Necron tier, have lived upon a world that was polluted with radiation. Its sun, the bloated star that stared hatefully upon the Necron tier homeworld since its birth, had turned the planet's natives into crippling things. Life of a Necron tier was brief and uneventful. Most architecture upon the world were mostly great pyramids that stored away the millions of dead. Finding no solace on their native home, the Necron tier would seek out new worlds to live upon. Many of them found worlds best described as a paradise, and many of them would even declare independence from their ever-growing Necron tier empire. The Necron tier nobles, those who served their king, the Silent King, tried desperately to hold their galactic empire together from the Separatists. Yet the Separatists had seen themselves as different from their cousins, and it seemed that war would be unavoidable. Through much debating, it was later understood that the Necron tier people would only be truly unified if they all saw a common enemy. After all, once they saw their native sun as the enemy of the people, they worked together to move across distant stars to find new homes. So, for their empire to maintain unity, the nobles pointed a crooked finger to an enemy that could satisfy their hates. The Old Ones, celestial beings of godlike powers, and said to be the creators of much of the galaxy, had always turned a blind eye to the suffering of the Necron tier people. The nobles cried that it was the Old Ones that allowed the suffering of the Necron tier people. It was them that allowed the sun to harm them for centuries, and it was them that kept them down. With this, the Separatists united with their distant world rulers to crusade against the Old Ones. With galactic-wide numbers and technology of mass destruction almost unimaginable, it seemed that the Necron tier truly believed they could slay gods. Yet, despite the hate, the unity, the numbers, and the technology, it was not so. With but a flick of a hand, the Old Ones massacred the Necron tier in numbers far beyond what their native sun could have slain. Their empire broken, the vengeful creatures were forced back to the very system that they were native from. Humiliated and broken, it was unavoidable that the Necron tier turned on each other once more, especially towards the nobles that have lied to them to take part in an unwinnable war. But through this hate, the vengeance that maddened the vast race, the prayers that many gave to their ancient gods, there were a few voices that answered. It is undocumented of how the Catan contacted these Xenos. Too many sources contradict each other, so the official account is almost impossible to pinpoint. But the exchange between the Catan and the Silent King Zarek is mostly universally consistent. Either through bribery or through newfound faith, the Necron tier built metallic giants for these star things to roam in. Once achieved, one of the Catan, the Deceiver, brought himself before the Silent King. The devilish god spoke of how the Old Ones were enemies of them too, how they took control of the universe and casted out the Catan from rightful rule. Through his honeyed words, the Deceiver offered the king a contract, a pact that will offer the Necron tier strength, immortality, and power beyond their imagining, in return for their silent and consensual obedience. Though debated amongst the nobles, Zarek would at the end accept the genie's offer. The contract signed, the Catan erected mountainous factories across the planet. The Necrontier would be rounded up, be baptized in living metal, and be reborn again as a legion of mechanical warriors. The Silent King, who had also accepted this transformation, was pleased with the results. For a time, the king had felt that something was drained from him, and his people seemed to have lost their individuality and acted more like robotic slaves under his command. He turned to the Catan, who have then seemed to be glowing with cosmic powers after the transformation of the Necrontier race. That was when the king realized his mistake. In exchange for power, he had taken away the souls of his people, leaving them as nothing but glorified slaves. The Necrontier were no more. The Catan, freshly powered from the souls of the once Necrontier race, brought disaster upon the galaxy. With a snap of a finger, black holes tore through reality, stars erupted in destructive glory, while planets dusted away into nothingness. The then-named Necrons would help breach the webway that has homed the old ones, and alongside their masters, exterminated them all. Victorious, the Catan, drained of their powers during the siege, were caught off guard when the Necrons turned their weapons on them. The Silent King, who had waited for the Catan to be weak enough, unleashed the wrath of the Necrons upon their masters. Through a cataclysmic battle, the Catan would shatter into many shards. Though fractured, these pieces still emitted godly powers, revealing that no matter what, the Catan could never truly die. So, to make sure that another soul is never deceived again by these gods, the Silent King ordered these shards to be hidden away in deep vaults and catacombs that had never, or will ever, see the light of day. Despite the victory, the might of the Necrons was no more. By comparison to the rising Eldari, the Necrons were too few to withstand another cosmic war. Though troubled to make the order, the Silent King demanded his mechanical people to rest in stasis within great tombs, to sleep till a time comes when the galaxy is weak enough to conquer again. Whilst they slept, the Silent King banished himself into starless space, his last act of repentance for ever signing the contract with the Catan. As the galaxy aged, the Necron tombs waited until the time came to awaken once more. Yet, not all would make it to the 40th millennium. Many would be destroyed by the natural evolution of the galaxy. Others would never wake at all, their damaged vaults forever trapping the Necrons inside and in eternal sleep. Yet, for those that did make it, the hatred of the Necrons were unleashed with a vengeance. With eldritch technology, they march on to take back what was rightfully theirs in a forgotten age. Even if reality itself is warped beyond natural fixing by the forces of chaos, the Necrons care not. No more are they compassionate materials, but hateful machines that have turned a vengeful gaze to the young, parasitic species that dominate the Milky Way. All the while, though muffled within a forgotten crypt, there is the sinister laughter from an imprisoned, deceitful god.